What's up, everyone? BJJ Tech Nerd here. Special shout out to the boys at X Marshall who provide me such amazing jiu-jitsu gear that lasts. I have gear that's over 2 years old and still fantastic. And to the good folks at Higher Healths Canada and USA who make amazing grass-fed beef liver, all that good stuff right here in Canada and the good old USA. Local farming, this is my vitamin. If you think about buying any rash guards or products from Higher Healths Canada, use my special code right here, BJJ Tech Nerd. That's BJJ Tech Nerd. Works on both sites. We're live? Oh yeah, we're live. What's up, everyone? Today's special guest, you might seen him on YouTube. I know I do when I look for BJJ techniques. He appears mostly 9 out of 10 times on my search. Jordan, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How's the weather in your area?
It's a little bit cold. I don't think as bad as Montreal. I think you guys have it way worse than us, but yeah, it's a little cold now.
It's been raining for like 4 days straight. It's really depressing right now. So yeah, that Canadian winter's coming close. It's around the corner.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah. So Jordan, I want to say thank you again for hopping on my show. I know you have a trip tomorrow or tonight, you were saying. So thank you for that short notice. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
And today's podcast, I just wanted to go above. You always help me with my jiu-jitsu on YouTube. Every time I would search, you're there. But I want to know more about you and your whole, let's say, martial art path in life. So my first question to you is, Jordan, what led you to martial arts and jiu-jitsu? What made you really start?
Yeah, so basically I just I dropped out of college. I wasn't having fun with it. And I needed something to do, because I wasn't working. I was just not doing too well. I was just living at my parents' house, and I put on UFC. Figured I'm not really gonna like this, but I'll put it on to watch while I'm playing guitar. And then I just started enjoying it. And then I was watching them. I was thinking, well, I can do that. If they can do it, why can't I do it? So my plan was to become an MMA fighter and join the UFC, all that kind of stuff, and be a champion. But it didn't really go the way I planned it, mostly only because the pandemic screwed everything up, and having twins and stuff like that really changed my plans. But my plan was MMA, but then I live in a small town, so there was only jiu-jitsu available, and I kind of just fell in love with jiu-jitsu. And then later on, then I started training striking and wrestling more in MMA. But I fell in love with jiu-jitsu, and I would say now it's still my favorite out of the bunch, but I love it all. I love boxing, I love Muay Thai, I love MMA. I just love martial arts. I just love fighting. And like I said, I saw those guys doing it, and I never thought I never put them on a pedestal. I've always been like that. They're just people like we are, and why can't I do that too? So and I was always an athlete growing up. I always played soccer, not at a super high level, but I played rep soccer, and I was always good at it. And other sports like rugby in high school. And I just knew that it would transfer over to jiu-jitsu. Just athleticism is just, it's a very helpful thing to have. And I'm very lucky to be pretty athletic. So I just started, and it's been a long journey ever since. I started 12 years ago, and here I am now. It's been quite the journey.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's almost similar to mine. I used to play soccer as well, and being Canadian, of course, hanging around with a lot of hockey playing friends, right? So I was in the hockey scene, soccer. For me, it was the same thing. Jiu-jitsu, I didn't find jiu-jitsu. I wasn't influenced by you. I would watch UFC, but I was never influenced by the Gracie story and all those things and submission people. I didn't know what jiu-jitsu was. I basically hurt my back, need to get back into shape. Started boxing, loved punching, got my back was better. Then I saw these greasy guys sweaty in the back with spandex. I'm like, what the hell's going on in the background? And then jiu-jitsu was just the best thing for me. Do you have a remembrance of your first class, what you felt in that first class? Was it I'm going to continue, or I'm going to stop this right now?
Yeah, my first class, I remember feeling a little bit unsure if I wanted to do it, because like the gym I went to was a little more like hardcore. Like they would, like crank submissions and like just like
Hmm.
rolling was just way rougher. And
Okay.
like after class, I was thinking like I don't know if I want to put my body through this again. But like I loved it, and that there was only ever that like small bit of doubt that first class, but then like the second, third, everything after that, I was hooked. I knew that I was going to do this for a long time, and like I didn't like try a class. I bought a gi and I signed up like before I even tried it. I just like it wasn't a question of if I'm going to do it. It's like no, I'm going to do this. So like it was kind of funny because before I even did my first class, I downloaded some instructionals. It was actually a Henzo Gracie instructional teaching
Mm.
triangles, and I practiced on my wife. And I thought like, yeah, this will be like too easy. Like I watch UFC, like I can. I thought I was doing it right, like the triangle I learned, but probably wasn't doing it right. And then, yeah, like I just, yeah, it was pretty much love at first sight. Other than like, yeah, that little bit of small doubt, only because again, they went pretty rough, which is like a reason why that I promote safety so much on the channel because that was kind of deterrent for me to enjoy it as much as I could for my first class. So I never want someone to feel like that, like they feel like it's dangerous or risky because it's not as much as people think it is. Like if you train smart, the chances of injury are pretty much the same as any other sport. But if you train like an idiot, then
Yeah.
yeah, you're going to get hurt for sure. And a lot of people do train like idiots.
Yeah, they do. I love the fact that you mentioned like I tried it on my wife kind of thing. Because the funny thing is, like, jokes aside, I actually try some stuff on my wife, but a lot like moves. Like, I'll go like for Kimura grip just to like practice go shooting for the Kimura grip or doing like an arm drag. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just help me out here. Just like go with it." So it's like a natural thing for me to grab her a certain way without even hurting her. Just like practicing technique while I'm at home, kind of thing. Like subconsciously, it's the funniest thing. So
Yeah, I do that with my daughter all the time. Like I'm always like play fighting with her, like not just grappling but striking too. Just like throwing leg kicks at her constantly or kicking her in the butt and stuff. And sometimes she gets a little annoyed like that, like it's a little too much. But like I tell her like I'm not just doing because it's fun for me. I'm also doing it because it's just like practice for her. So
hmm
it's just yeah, like every day pretty much I practice with her without her even knowing it. So yeah, it's something. Yeah, I just yeah, like with Nikki, my wife, it took her 3 years to start training. Like, I had to convince her. Like she did try it, like after a year of
hmm
me training, but she didn't like the gym I was at, so
hmm
she didn't want to continue. But then like after that, then she like when I then she started training after that. But yeah, it was I remember too she laughed at me the first time I put on my gi, but it was also like really big. It was huge on
Yeah.
me, and it did look ridiculous. And she laughed at me. I was like, oh my god, like I was already like insecure about wearing this, and then she's like laughing at me, but no hard feelings. So not throwing her under the bus. I did look ridiculous for sure. It was like an A3, so and I'm like an A2, so it was huge.
Oh, nice. But you have me children? You have two children? You
I've got three. So I've got
Oh, nice.
one, yeah, one 10-year old, and I've got two 4-year olds. So yeah, it's a lot. That's pretty much like what kind of changed the course of everything.
Mhm,
Like my daughter was easy to train and
mhm.
compete and stuff like that. But then like, having two boys that are twins is and especially when they're young, very difficult, and it's still
Yeah.
very difficult. And yeah, I had all these plans of like going pro and yeah, competing more in jiu-jitsu and whatnot, but they definitely threw a wrench in things. Like I'm not blaming them. I'm happy with how things turned out because now I'm focusing more on teaching than I am on competing.
Yes.
But definitely my focus and like my objectives changed substantially when I realized, okay, this is a huge lifestyle adjustment. I'm not going to be able to do what I set out on doing. And some people, they can manage well with like there's fighters in the UFC and jiu-jitsu competitors, they have kids, but
Mhm.
with everything I have going on, like I've got two gyms now and the YouTube channel
Nice.
plus the kids. It's just adding on competing on top of that is very tough. But I do watch, like when I watch people compete, it does like light the fire a little bit because I watch so much like like video, like mostly
Mhm.
my own roles because that's what I do. On YouTube, obviously, but
Yeah.
because I've watched so much, it's really developed my eye for like my sight for like seeing what's happening, and I see others and I think like, well, damn, I can beat them. And so sometimes I am like, yeah, like I get motivated sometimes, like I'm gonna start competing, but then I kind of like check myself. I'm like, yeah, I have no energy for that, or no time. But yeah, one day I'll get back to competing for sure. Just not yet.
Oh, nice. That'll be like one of my next questions, actually competing. But before we talk about competing, going back to being a fatherhood and jujitsu, owning two gyms, social media, finding that right balance. Do you like foresee your children following in your like footsteps of becoming BJJ athletes or practitioners? Like, do you see it like naturally happening to them?
Yeah, I do because like my daughter, she's a yellow belt and she's a killer right now. Like she's super good,
Nice.
super technical and very athletic. Like I don't know if they'll pursue a jiu-jitsu career, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that it's they're gonna train. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
not that I'm forcing them to, but they're
Yeah.
just growing up in that environment.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you can't really not train when you're at the gym all the time, because that's what we do for a living. But it, like, if they don't do jujitsu for a living or MMA or whatever, like, it doesn't bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell my daughter this all the time, that it's just very important to be very good at something. Like, it doesn't need to be jujitsu, but if you're very good at something, then you can make money from it, and then you can do what you love, and you don't have to get a job you don't like. So I don't want to sound like I minimize school, but I kind of do
Mm-hmm.
in a sense to her, because like, you know, I don't think it's so important to worry about like homework and stuff like that and your grades. To an extent, like obviously you want to pass and everything, but like, I didn't do great in school, and like, yeah, I dropped out at college and I did just fine because I got really good at something, which was, I'm pretty good at jujitsu, but I know I'm really good at teaching jujitsu, and I can make money doing that. So yeah, I tell her it doesn't have to be jujitsu, but it has to be something. Like I need her to be passionate about something, because I hate working personally. Like I don't like work. Like I wouldn't be able to work for someone else, especially doing something like that I don't love, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
want her to have to do that. Like I know a lot of people are in that boat where they're doing something every single day that they don't love. So it's
Yeah.
always very important for me to always like teach her like entrepreneurial like skills and stuff like that, more so than just jujitsu itself, because it can all be applied to anything. It's just you have to get good at something, otherwise yeah, you're going to be stuck doing something that you don't like doing and not making much money
Mm-hmm.
doing it.
Absolutely. Luckily, I'm in an environment where I work in IT, so I kind of love where I work. I'm almost there for going to be 11 years soon, so I'm very fortunate to be working there and doing all this social media stuff. And what you said before about the environment you're in, like for me too. Let's say I'm training jujitsu now; it's a little over 2 years. My wife knows that. She asked me, "Do you want me to do jiu-jitsu?" I'm like, "No, I don't want you to do jiu-jitsu because I'm doing the jiu-jitsu. I just want you, if you wanna, if you're interested in it, join. Like if you have an interest, of course." And the same applies to my son as well. He's 5 now, and I told my wife I don't want to talk about jiu-jitsu in front of him, like not at all. He'll see it for his own eyes. Like, and every time I go train at night, he says, "Daddy trains jiu-jitsu," and sometimes I practice like butterfly sweeps on him and just like holding him with my two legs in the air, and he's at a point where he's telling me now at 5 that he wants to do jujitsu. I'm like, oh, that's amazing because he has he has, well, not passion, but he has the interest in it so far. So if he partakes in jujitsu, that's awesome. If he doesn't, no big deal. Like my wife, she's loving boxing classes now, so that's good. I want like my family to have some sort of like activity or sport in their life to keep them physically active. Like I can't be this guy sitting on the couch watching Netflix anymore because that's how I hurt myself. So jujitsu has really helped me come a long way. So I can agree with you with that the situation like her. Not force our kids, but like if they see like a good example of what we're doing, they're gonna like probably pick up on that and like do the same thing. For jiu-jitsu are not related at all. And going on the topic of like tournaments, and you gain this fire of MMA and all that stuff, do you still compete or try and compete in the year?
Not really. Like I
Mm-hmm.
did one super fight last year, and against someone that was much larger than me. I thought it'd be a cool challenge to do,
Mm-hmm.
but like that's kind of more what I'm interested in. It's just like competing when I have the motivation to do it, rather than like being like a full time competitor or anything like that. But yeah, I was gonna fight MMA actually like last week. That's when it would have been like,
Hmm.
because like 3 months ago was setting up a fight, and then I got an offer for somebody the day after I hurt my knee, and
Oh.
which really sucked because yeah, I was like ready to go, and
Yeah.
because I had the motivation to do it. But yeah, like we'll see what happens because, like I said, I see these other people and what they do, like other competitors who are successful in
Hmm.
jiu-jitsu and MMA, and I know I'm more technical. Like I can see what they're doing, and I know I can beat them. So it's a frustrating thing in a sense, but like it's also like just because you can do something doesn't mean that like you want to
Hmm.
and or you have to. So that's the thing that's kind of always like tough on my mind too, because people always ask me like when I'm going to compete, or they encourage me to do it, which is
Hmm.
nice of them for sure.
Hmm.
But it's like they don't really understand that like you have to have the like desire to do it, not just the
Hmm.
ability to do it. Like just because I can do well, it doesn't mean that I want to go do that, because it's very stressful. Like, you know, I want to like I always want to eliminate stress from my life, even though I always add more and more and more. But like, yeah, like my goal is always just to be relaxed and chill, because yeah, I don't like stress. Like
Yeah.
most
No
people
one does.
don't, but like competing is very stressful, and
Hmm.
like the whole process of it, like getting ready for it, doing it afterwards. If you lose, that's stressful, especially me as like a, I don't know, I guess like a figure in jiu-jitsu. Like
Hmm.
people will have opinions if I lose, and that's just reality.
Yeah.
Like yeah, some people will be very happy to see me lose, and I know that I would get some comments from some haters just trying to rub it in my face, and
Yeah.
like yeah, I don't know if I want to go through that. I don't know if yeah, just for what, just because I can do well. I got to find that desire that makes it worth that makes it worth the risk, because
Hmm.
yeah, like there is risk to competing. Like I don't like losing whatsoever. I'm highly competitive, so if
Hmm.
I'm going to do something, I'm going to make sure I'm successful in it. So just like the whole commitment to competing is a lot, because I'm not just going to go in there like, you know, off like the couch or off like the regular training. Like I'm going to prepare and make sure that I win, and it's just yeah, it's just a lot. It's a big time commitment too.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm joining my first tournament ever. It's in a month from now, so I booked it 2 months early to get the early bird special. And the only thing that stresses me out the most, Jordan, is the fact that, well, now jiu-jitsu is legal in Montreal. So it's been about 2 or 3 months now. But I'm doing my first tournament in Ottawa. So the biggest stress for me is actually waking up early and driving 2 3 hours there, getting on time. So like the whole drive, I'll tell my wife I'm gonna probably drive back and forth 6 hours just to lose in a matter of 3 minutes, kind of thing. But like I'm prepared. I'm finally making myself the time to train 2 3 times a week to really do like competition classes, training, and really look into it. It's kind of exciting and stressful at the same time, but so I kind of get what you mean. Kind of, but for me, it's like if I lose, I don't really like. I don't know. Like I'm nobody special. I want that it's hard to explain. Like when I'm in class, it's not like 100%. It's always like 50% with everyone. I want to be careful, have respect with everyone, but I want that intensity. I guess at a competition to see how I can do before I get even older. So I don't know if that's my process right now.
Oh, it's definitely very like I used to like compete all the time. I like I enjoyed it sometimes, but overall I didn't love it. I just did it because I wanted to prove I was the best, and
Mm-hmm.
that was my main motivation. I want to prove it to myself and prove to others. So I would
Mm-hmm.
compete like every month, or like sometimes multiple times in a month, like just competing all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
I think as like yeah, people like they ask me all the time on Instagram or YouTube, like for advice about competing. Like people that are
Mm-hmm.
lower belts, they ask a lot, and like they're so worried about losing, but like it doesn't matter. Nobody cares if you lose.
Exactly.
As a lower belt, like it doesn't matter whatsoever, because one, it's all practice until you get to black belt. So once you're a black belt, if you lose, like it's because you're not good enough, and that's just reality. But if you're a lower belt, if you lose, not a big deal, because you're still getting better. And you know, like losses can help a lot. It can make you a lot better. And
Absolutely.
so it's not, yeah, lower belts, they shouldn't even care about losing whatsoever. Like, especially the first tournament is usually a, like a write off, because there's so much going through your head. It's very hard to perform, and then the second one's usually easier because you went through the process of the first. But yeah, like definitely lower belts should not care whatsoever if they lose. They should just take it as a great learning experience and a great experience in general, because
Hmm.
like where else can you fight someone at 100% like without strikes? But like where else can you do that? And at the gym you don't quite go 100%. Even
Exactly.
if it is a hard roll, it can be close to 100, but like competition is way different. It's a life experience that people should experience at least once if they do jujitsu.
Yeah, that's good advice too. But like, let's say general advice to, let's say, the newbie who wants to start jujitsu or any competition. What is your like your top three or most important advice to anyone starting jujitsu right now? Like, what is your, is it always check your ego at the door kind of thing, or what you just mentioned kind of?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things, so many pieces of advice I could give, but definitely that's one that's really important, is just checking your ego at the door. And it's very, standard advice people give, but it's so important because like when I was a lower belt, I would try to hold out so long on submissions because my ego was getting the better of me, or I would risk, just in general, getting hurt just because I wanted to win so bad. And now that I'm older and wiser, I'm not gonna do that to my body. Like I'm gonna make sure that I'm always good to go for the next day to train. Like the ego doesn't get in the way anymore when it comes to that kind of stuff. So that's the most important thing, really. It's like keeping yourself safe. Safety is the most important thing in the sport, and it's your ego that can get you in trouble, and other people's egos, and also just like gym culture.
Mhm.
So if you go to a gym that's yeah, kind of more hardcore, it might not be the best gym for you, because there's a good balance to strike of like all gyms are different, and it's fine if they're one way or another. But the way I like it is a good balance for like the recreational people. Um, like we don't have to roll super hard with them, but then there's like more like I don't know. I don't want to say serious, but like more, I don't know, people you can go harder with, and a
Mhm.
good mix of both, as opposed to just like some gyms are very like they go way too light for my liking. Like
Mhm.
everyone goes way too light for my liking at some gyms, and then some gyms I watch and I'm just like, oh my God, like guys, like why are you cranking these submissions? Like, they're like, oh well, it's on them to tap. Well, not really. Like to an extent, but it's on you not to crank and hurt someone. Like if you hurt someone with a submission, it's your fault. Like it's not their fault, it's yours, because you
Mhm.
could just let go, and they could roll another day. So yeah, like safety is always so important to me, because I want people to train for a long time, and I want them to enjoy it, and they won't be able to if they're constantly getting hurt. And yeah, like that's my advice for someone, is to always prioritize safety. And that way, yeah, if you do that, and then you should have no problem training for a long time, as long as you don't lose the desire. But if you lose the desire, maybe it's just not, yeah, maybe it's just not for you anymore, or there's things you can do to light that fire again. But if you're injured, it doesn't matter if you have the fire or not, because you won't be able to actually train. So yeah, safety is everything.
100%. I can agree with that for sure. And I think one thing for me, because I've been on training for a little over 2.5 years maybe, and when I was a white belt, I was always thinking about like belts and like it's important to get the black belt right away and all this stuff. And every time I would lose, I'll just get like this discouraged. And today, I think like my process of like my mentality is like just show up kind of thing. Just show up and whatever kind of experience I have after I've reset for the next session kind of thing. And that's what's keeping me going so far. So I can have in a week 2 bad days, 3 bad nights. It doesn't matter. I'll just be ready for the next one. And because it's an experience. Like I'm not afraid to lose because that's where I know I'm learning the most, especially with the higher belts that are like sometimes can go a little bit harder on me now because I'm a blue belt. So they're testing me. So I always take it as a, I always, it's like, I'm thankful for that because they're just making me super sharp. And now I'm picking up on key details that I never picked up before as a white belt. So even though people say like the BJJ blues or something like that, like it's something at the blue belt that really like plateaus and like people get depressed or they just stop at blue belt kind of thing. I felt that for me for a month, but now I'm just like, okay, I'm picking up on these little things that are really like motivating me to like just to move forward and always have that mindset to like It's okay. Just show up. Eventually, I will get better, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I think with the like when people get the blue belt blues, it's
Hmm.
a lot of it comes down to like they have higher expectations for where they should be as a blue belt, because when you get
Hmm.
there, it's like, okay, well, nothing really changes except for the color of my belt. I still need to I still need to perform and
Yeah.
do everything right. And they might feel like, well, I know how to do a triangle, I know how to do an arm bar or like a knee slide pass, but like, why are these higher belts so much better at doing them than I am? Do I
Hmm.
need to learn like more techniques, or they're trying to figure it out? Like, yeah, because blue belt is kind of where you have like a good, I don't know what the word is, like a good, like a good handle on, just like the techniques as a whole. But
Hmm.
it's hard to imagine yourself like getting better at those specific techniques, because you feel like you already know them. But then like, so you think you need like more like advanced techniques to get better. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's more about perfecting your fundamentals. Um, I think for every belt, that's what it's about. But I
Hmm.
think people, yeah, they don't really realize that, and they're kind of like lost of like, what do I do to get better? Like, do I just watch a bunch of like advanced stuff and that'll make me better? But no, it won't. Like fundamentals, just perfecting them. So, but yeah, that's like a tough thing for people to deal with too. It's like, yeah, like they're just missing like small details or small things to get better. So it's harder to like figure out what it is, because when you're a white belt, it's like, well, I don't know how to do an omoplata. Like this is like brand new to me, or I don't know how to do like escape the back. But as a blue belt, you should have a general sense, like a general idea of how. But it's just actually doing it is like the hard part if you're missing like very important like details or things to prioritize. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's almost like less exciting almost. It's like,
Hmm.
because like fundamentals and perfecting those aren't like super sexy compared to like, doing like a bearing bolo or like a
Yeah.
kiss of the dragon or whatever it is, like for like advanced type of stuff. So, but when you're a white belt, everything's sexy in the sense of
Yeah.
like, yeah, like you're just learning all this cool stuff, and it's just like, yeah, just more exciting in a way. So it kind of gets like
Yeah.
less exciting as you go, but also more exciting in some ways, because it's like, if you're doing well with learning, well, it's like, well, now I can beat up this guy who used to beat me up, or now I can
Hmm.
like, do just fine again. Like I can just handle brand new white belts that are like bigger than me, or whatever it is. It's like that part's really exciting. Like progression's exciting, but
It
yeah,
is.
it's harder to feel it as a blue belt, because sometimes you still get beat up by some of the better white belts, and then like other blue belts are still kicking your butt and still get your
Hmm.
butt kicked by purple belts. So it's a tough one to it's tough to figure out like kind of where you are in that whole thing. So yeah, blue belt is the hardest belt for sure. That's like where I almost quit the most amount of times was as a blue
Hmm.
belt. But I never really had that feeling as a purple or brown or even or white belt. Sometimes as a black belt even I do, but only because it's like I've been doing it so long. But yeah, blue belt is like, yeah, that's why people quit all the time at blue belt.
Yeah. Sometimes they joke about like I got my blue belt. I know enough jujitsu now. I can quit now, kind of thing. But it's funny
Hmm.
because even now at blue belt, like I've been let's say we do something like single leg X setup. Like as a white belt, I had a hard time doing it, and I see other people having a hard time doing it. But now it just comes so fluent to me. It's like that's progression to me. So I'm doing it faster. I'm doing it properly, and it's like it's so I don't get bored of that because I know I learned that repetition is key. So the more I do it, the more comfortable I am. That's how I'll improve. Not but like as you mentioned, should I learn more advanced techniques? Well, not really, because even sometimes when I shoot for a kimura, like I'm like at home, I'm constantly shooting my wife. Like I'm just like visualizing that attack. So the more you do it, the more natural it comes to you. So the same thing for repetition. So yeah, I don't. I think I'm past the Brazilian blues there, the blue belt blue, sorry, kind of thing. But in all of jiu-jitsu, like there's always like these top things that annoy people in jiu-jitsu. Do you have your own like top three things that annoy you as a coach or as like as you're experiencing your jiu-jitsu journey in the gym?
Um, yeah, I guess the one thing that annoys me the most, and someone did this to me yesterday. Like I hate when people hold like painful positions and just hold them and don't progress. So like I was rolling with this blue belt who's my friend, so I can talk shit, no problem about him. But he, like, I let him get to mount and get like an S mount arm bar, but then he was just sitting on me, like on my like chest. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't like roll him over to escape. He was just sitting there taking his time. I'm like, bro, like I let you get here, and then you're making me pay for it. Like, I don't want to feel pain right now. This wasn't why I let you get in here. And like I just wanted to work my escapes and whatnot, and kind of let him work. And I've had other people do that too. It's like, yeah, don't make my experience painful when I let you get there in the first place. So like that's one thing that's annoying to me. But yeah, I could probably honestly, like, if I like thought about it, I could probably write like a long list of things that are annoying. But that's the first thing that comes to my head. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things that are annoying
Hmm.
in jujitsu. I can't think of any right now, but there's yeah, I can guarantee I could write a long
Oh,
list. Maybe I should make a YouTube video and like things that are annoying in
oh, you should.
jujitsu. Yeah,
Each like a list of 20. Like for off the top of my head, that always comes to mind because it's evident when I come home and my wife's like, "What happened to you?" It's long nails. Like when people don't cut their nails, it's like, "Was I attacked by a cougar? Was I into a cat fight?" I'm like, "No, it's jujitsu." Or I eye poking happens sometimes, but it's not on purpose, but it does happen in the black eye. And my wife freaks out for that. And deodorant is key for me. Besides that, I am super happy with jujitsu. I don't mind the sweating. It's normal. I used to be a person who never like touch anyone, but now it's like jujitsu fixed that for me. So yeah, deodorant and nails I would say is the most.
yeah, like definitely. Yeah, both those are very important. And also, like, I hate when people they try to grab my gi, but they grab my skin instead. I find that really annoying.
Oh,
Like,
oh yes,
like
yes,
let
yes,
go of
yes.
my skin. This hurts. Yeah, that's annoying too, for sure.
I've only done gi a few times because mostly no-gi, but I know that feeling. It's like an awkward grip. It's just like, ugh,
Yeah, I don't know
yeah.
how they don't feel it and like let go because like yeah, it freaking hurts so bad.
Like the flesh is in your nails. Like you don't want, I don't know, bringing it back home for I don't know.
Hmm.
Oh man! But in all of jujitsu, what is I would ask you like, what is your greatest accomplishment or your proudest moment in jujitsu?
Um, I guess like competitively, I don't know. I had some like really good experiences. Like yeah, when I was a blue belt, I won the absolute division at a tournament and my division, so I got double gold, and I beat some people that done very well internationally. So that was like a really that one stands out to me because
Mm-hmm.
I never won an absolute division before. Um, so that was like I was on cloud nine after, just feeling so good, like on top of the world. But like I had since then, I've like won some like better tournaments or beat some bigger people, whatever. But that one really stood out to me as like wow, like that I felt very good at that tournament. So yeah, that's like my favorite accomplishment competitively, I guess. But then like my overall just biggest accomplishment would just be the YouTube channel, and it
Mm-hmm.
just like it's hard to pinpoint where like what was the best. Like I remember getting asked by BJ Fanatics to do an instructional, and that blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, like I made it. Like I'm gonna be on
Yeah.
BJ Fanatics, which is kind of funny because now I could do more with them, but I just do my own now, and so yeah, it was at the time it was really exciting, but now it's kind of like not as exciting. But that was really cool. Reaching 100,000 subscribers, that was a very exciting moment. Hitting 10,000 subscribers is very exciting too for me. But overall, like I would say, like when I saw how well my theory course did, that was like the biggest accomplishment for sure because it's really that's when I really I don't know how to word this. Like I make decent money from like sponsors and YouTube
Mhm.
AdSense, but nothing compares to course sales. Like course
Yeah.
sales have like changed my life, and yeah, like to be able to um, help me and my family's like life so much through the
Mhm.
course sales, that's just something that it's just I'm super proud of what I've done. And yeah, even like I like to share with my daughter too, so these accomplishments, like because I like to again like teach her like entrepreneurial stuff and be able to share that with her, like like look how many course sales we did, Audrey. It's like just very exciting. Yeah, like I paid off my car. I'm getting like I've gotten like my house is being renovated. I got a new kitchen, new bathroom, new floors, stuff like that. And then I bought a second gym using that money. And then I'm gonna buy a car soon because I sold my car. And I got an e-bike, but then now I need it again, so I got a second gym. So um, yeah, and just like I know that the longer I do this for, like sell
Mhm.
courses, and the longer I'm successful, the longer I can really change my life forever. Because right now it's definitely things are going well, but after like a year or more, if sales keep up, then I can create wealth for myself that will yeah, it'll last forever as long as I use it intelligently.
Mhm.
And yeah, that can it just like secures my family, because that's always like my number one concern. Always, like, so much of my motivation is just wanting to always know that me and my family are always going to be all right. Because for example, like the pandemic was really hard on us financially, and
Mhm.
it was extremely scary, and I never want to go through something like that again, which is like one of the reasons why I started the YouTube channel, so I'd have a second source of income. And yeah, like it's just the course sales are doing very well, and it's like changed my life. So that's what I'm most proud of, and not it's like saying like, oh, I'm most proud of like making money, but like at this at the same time, it's like when money can really change your life so much and make you more secure and
Mhm.
comfortable and everything, then 100% there's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, it's done really well.
That's amazing. And also, you accomplished so much. I know you're proud of yourself. You should be proud of yourself because, like, now you're gonna reach almost 200,000 subscriber on YouTube. And as you mentioned, like, even I think Gordon Ryan said a good example once. Like, he doesn't even have to compete anymore. He doesn't have to. He just makes all his income from his instructionals as well. So it's like you're on the right path. You know what you're doing. That's amazing news. And it all started from you, just like starting jiu-jitsu kind of thing. So that's pretty cool. And it's also, I'll be honest, it's inspiring to me because I dabbled in this social media last year. I just want to have fun. I'm making memes. I'm making reels. I don't know. My friend told me to start this podcast. I'm just having fun right now. Second source of income, I don't know. I'm having fun right now with my current job for 11 years. I'm super happy there, but I don't know where it'll take me. And I love watching your stuff. Like, even when you say if you don't compete, but you do a lot of videos where like you're challenging sambo wrestlers and other high school wrestlers. So that's pretty cool, and that's kind of like competing. So you are competing in a way. I see it.
Yeah, I kind of view it that way too, honestly, because I always need to put on a good performance. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can't just go in there and go against someone good and not perform. So like, yeah, I kind of view it that way too. And like I've rolled with people on camera, and then afterwards they told me I can't use the footage, which is really frustrating. But like,
Mm-hmm.
if I couldn't do that to someone, not that I would want to, but
Mm-hmm.
that would make me look like such a loser. I think, if not saying they are, but like
Mm-hmm.
it would make me look like one if they like did well against me, and then I'm like, well, I don't really want to use that footage. Like, yeah, it's super lame. So yeah, I always think it's like it puts more pressure on me, because if I like do too well against someone like notable, then
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna say no to it being used. But then if I don't do well enough, they'll want to use, but like then but it's not great for me. It's not great for me not to do well. So like, but I'm always confident I'm going to do well. It doesn't matter who it is. But like, yeah, it's just it can be like a double standard, or kind of like a tough thing to be in, because I beat them up, I can't use it. They beat me up, I have to use it. So I always have to make sure I perform. But yeah, again, it's like tough. Like if I can't like perform too much against uh, someone if they're like notable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a tough thing for sure. But yeah, I really enjoy it. Like I really just the whole thing. Like I just enjoy having the YouTube channel, even though sometimes it is stressful. But like before I even started, like I told my wife, like Nikki, that not only will this be great like financially and everything for us, but it's just going to create so many opportunities, and that's exactly what it's done. So I'm going to Vietnam later today, and I'm going to Australia, do a self-defense challenge, and there's so many cool just opportunities that wouldn't have been available to me otherwise. And I want to take full advantage of it. Like I always just want to go forward. I always want to just do things that are cool and do things bigger and better than what I've done. And just like that's what excites me in life is just like achieving and doing things. So having this where it facilitates the ability to do that. It's just I'm always so glad I started the YouTube channel. It's changed my life, and I like helping people too, like hearing from people that I've like helped them get their blue belts, or they've helped them win the tournaments, or they understand jiu-jitsu so much better. It's just like that's so cool to me because I'm just this guy in this small town that's like basically a no one before I started the YouTube channel. Not that I'm anyone now, but like it's just yeah, I'm just this random guy from a small town that's like teaching people across the world jujitsu, and they're really benefiting from my like passion for jujitsu, which I think is really cool too, because that way it's not wasted. Not that it would be, but in one sense it is. Like because I've always been so passionate. I've watched so much. I've like done it for so long, and if I just kept it to myself, I feel like okay, well, it was a fun thing to do, but I can really use everything I've went through and endured, like and learned and use it to help other people. So it's just so cool to have that opportunity, and yeah, I just want to keep getting better and better at it. Like my mentality always is like I just want to improve, make my next video better than the last, and yeah, so like that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's an awesome thing. That's an awesome journey out there, Jordan. And also, like for me, like when I now in jiu-jitsu, like what I enjoy the most out of jiu-jitsu is whenever someone asks me a question that I actually have the answer to sometimes, and it gives me such pleasure to help people out. So, and I actually told my coach this, like what I want from jiu-jitsu is to one day be a coach. So that's my dream right now, is to be a coach one day. Doing competitions in between just to feel that experience, sure, why not? But my goal is to introduce is just to help out people because it's the greatest feeling. Really, it really is. It's makes me happy, especially when I know the answer. So, Jordan, I want to say thank you very much for coming on my podcast today. I know you have a trip to go to, so I wish you a safe trip. And thank you again, sir, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I enjoyed my time, so thank you for having me.
Until next time, Jordan. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye.